If your energy is down, your workouts aren't hitting the same, your drive isn't there like it used to be, most guys will just brush this off. They rationalize it as stress, getting old, and they tell themselves it's normal. But a lot of the time it's low testosterone, and most men ignore the signs until it starts affecting everything. Energy, mood, body composition, their relationships, their performance at work. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the key symptoms of low testosterone you shouldn't ignore, and then we'll talk about how to fix it. Let's go. We'll start off with one of the most underrated indicators, morning erections. This is something I look at clinically all the time. If those are becoming less frequent, weaker, or just gone altogether, that's a strong signal your hormones may be off. In many cases, it's just as useful as blood work. Your body gives you feedback daily. You just have to pay attention. Now let's get into the symptoms. First, low energy is a big one. Not just tired at the end of the day, this is waking up already feeling flat, dragging through the morning, needing caffeine just to function. Testosterone plays a major role in energy production, and when it drops, everything feels harder and heavier. Closely tied to that is fatigue and just not feeling like yourself. This is one of the biggest red flags. You're still showing up, but not at your usual level. Your baseline is shifted, and most men will just sit in this phase for way too long before doing anything about it. Another obvious one is low libido. One of the clearest signals. If your interest in sex is down, inconsistent, or just not there, that matters. Pair that with reduced morning erections and testosterone becomes a primary suspect. Now let's talk about mood. Low testosterone is strongly tied to low mood, irritability, negative thinking, and a lot of men just assume it's the stress of life. But hormones drive a huge part of your mental state. Then there's brain fog. This shows up as poor focus, slow thinking, reduced sharpness. You feel like you're operating at 70 to 80%. Not terrible, but definitely not where you should be. Pay attention to this. Next is reduced confidence. This isn't just mindset, it's a biochemical and physiologic issue. Testosterone influences dopamine, assertiveness, and drive. When those levels drop, you tend to hesitate more, second guess things, pull back, not pull the trigger. Next, we'll look into physical performance. Poor workout response. You're training, you're consistent, results are not there. Weights feel heavy, the progress is slow, you're not building muscle, you're not becoming thicker. That's a major sign. And then this leads into loss of muscle mass. So over time, muscles look flatter, strength drops, size is harder to maintain, even if your routine hasn't changed and you're pushing yourself. And along with this, you have a harder time maintaining your physique. So you gain fat in the midsection, despite doing the same things that used to work for you when you were younger. Testosterone plays a huge role in fat distribution and metabolism, so something to pay attention to. Lower motivation and drive will show up, work, training, life, everything's just going to feel like more of an effort. So this internal push is just not going to be there, okay? Your recovery will drag, you'll maybe be more sore, longer recovery, less resilience. And then finally, feeling flat or just overall less vibrant. You're functioning, but not fully on, not sharp, not driven, not energized. And here is the key. None of these things alone confirm low testosterone, but when you multiply, stack things together, start to pay attention, this gives you clues. So what do you do next? The first step would be get blood work, get some data. You need real data. Total testosterone, free testosterone, sex hormone binding globulin, estradiol. This will start to tell you what's actually going on. You also probably want to include a few other things like cortisol for stress hormones, insulin for blood sugar, because that can jack up the testosterone. Nutrients like zinc and vitamin D should also be looked at because they play a role in testosterone. Boron levels and deficiency of boron you also might want to look into. So before jumping into TRT based on your results, you need to address the foundation of why your testosterone's low, because most of the time it's not a production or testicular problem, it's a suppression problem. So let's talk about how we fix this. First up is nutrition. If you're not eating enough protein, your testosterone will drop. If you're under eating protein, testosterone drops. If you're avoiding healthy fats and cholesterol, your testosterone will drop. So make sure you're getting adequate protein, 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of lean body mass, Get the healthy fat and cholesterol-rich foods in, high-quality red meat, eggs, avocado, nuts and seeds, coconut oil. Whole foods are what testosterone is built on from cholesterol. So if you remove these building blocks, production will suffer. The next is vitamin and mineral status. This is huge. A lot of men are walking around with deficiencies that directly impact their testosterone levels. Some key ones: vitamin D. Low levels are strongly linked to low testosterone, so check and replete your vitamin D levels. Zinc is critical for testosterone production. You need at least 25 milligrams a day to maintain and build testosterone. Boron deficiencies, very common. You need around 3 to 6 milligrams a day, and this will help improve your free testosterone levels if you're deficient. Fixing this alone can make a noticeable difference. Now let's talk about some other targeted supports. These aren't magic, but they can really help when you have a good foundation in place. Tongkat Ali, it may help improve free testosterone levels and reduce SHBG. Ashwagandha, the KSM66 strain, helps reduce cortisol and will indirectly support testosterone production. Zinc, boron, vitamin D, like we already talked about, test and replete those. Make sure you're getting enough of them in. And these will always work best when combined with proper sleep, diet, and training, not just in isolation. Next up is sleep. If you're getting under 7 hours consistently, your testosterone will drop. Sleep deprivation raises cortisol. Cortisol suppresses testosterone, and then training starts to suffer, as well as recovery. But this is where training is important. You need the right balance of resistance training, moderate to heavy weights, compound movements, squats, deadlifts, presses, 3 to 4 times per week. Not excessive, but not underdosed either. Just enough of a stimulus to get the system going, okay? Another big theme is controlling insulin. If your blood sugar is unstable, testosterone will suffer. Chronically high insulin levels drops testosterone. So reduced refined carbs, avoid constant snacking, eat balanced meals, stabilize blood sugar, creates a way better hormonal environment. And finally, reduce endocrine disruptors, plastics, BPA, phthalates. These mimic estrogen in the body. Over time, they shift your hormone balance. Some simple steps is don't microwave plastic or cellophane. Use glass or stainless steel. Reduce exposure when possible. This makes a huge difference. When you step back and look at all this, a pattern becomes very clear. Testosterone optimization is not about one supplement. It's about removing what suppresses it and reinforcing what supports it. When you do this consistently enough over time, energy will improve, body composition, you'll become leaner, recovery's better, drive and focus returns. And this is a key point for some of you thinking about, should I jump to TRT? You don't jump straight to TRT, you earn the right to consider it after maximizing and fixing these fundamentals. Because if you skip these steps, TRT doesn't usually solve the problem. You just plug it in to a broken system, and that never ends well. It might buy you some time, but then you're right back to square one, okay? So that's a wrap for this video. If this helped, hit like, subscribe, share it with someone that would benefit, and check out this other video where I break down the exact blood work guys over 40 need to properly assess their testosterone. That's where you really start to connect the symptoms with what's going on under the hood. And as always, thank you for watching.